you can promise all this stuff to a realtor or your business partners, but at the end of the day, if you're not delivering on it, it's going to make your business a little bit more difficult. So here's what I advise that you do. Before you talk about one piece of mortgage information to anybody, you've got to reframe yourself in front of the clients. Clients don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. That's a proven fact. Because if what you do is the cheapest rate, they're going to go to the cheapest rate. If what you do is provide closings, they're just going to go to the company that provides them the closing. The truth of the matter is that our audience, our consumers, are looking for that process that creates an experience that they feel comfortable with. They want to believe that the person they're working with has as much invested into the transaction as they do. Truly, that's what the consumer is looking for. They don't want to know everything going on. It's like a pilot on an airplane. I believe that the pilot wants to be alive tomorrow as much as I do. That's why I believe that he's going to take my plane from here to Atlanta on Monday and not have any issues, because I believe that he wants to stay alive as much as I do.
Right.
So I buy into that concept every time I get onto a plane, and all I want now is for the flight attendants to take care of me. I want to be attended to. I want them to ask me if I'm okay. I want them to respond to my call if I need to. Just basic things. So when you start a conversation with a client, you have to start it with the framework of, I am not a loan officer. I am a business consultant. I am an advisor. I provide you with more information than you're even going to know, because truthfully, the consumer doesn't know what they don't know. Can we all agree to that? The consumer doesn't have a clue.
Yes. What was this called? Your 5-point what? What'd you call it?
It's a 5-point opener. It's the 5-point presentation that you talk about before you start talking about mortgages, because this is going to define the why you're doing this. Okay? So the client calls you for the first time, and this is you can, and I go into this, I'll say this a couple times with the client, between when I talk to them on the phone for the first time and then when I meet them face to face. So a client calls me up, and first thing out of my mouth is, "Hey Chuck, hey man, thanks for calling. I appreciate that. So Ramsey Farage actually put you in touch with me. I love Ramsey. I think he's funny. I really enjoy talking to him. So obviously he said something about me to you that made you feel comfortable wanting to talk to me. What did he say?"
Okay.
Ramsey's, you're going to give me everything that Ramsey said that was relevant to you. Let me say that again. You are going to repeat everything that Ramsey said about me to you that was important to you. You're going to say to me, he said that you were honest, you were upfront, you delivered, you held his hand through the process, he said that he could really trust you. And your response, or my response to that, is, I love that about Ramsey. You know what? When I worked with him, or the fact that he referred me to you, that's awesome. I can't think of a better person to endorse me, because he is so trustworthy, and he's hardworking and dedicated, and he cares about his clients. So how do you know Ramsey? Oh, you guys work together. Oh, that's awesome. Man, how did you guys get on the subject of mortgages? Oh, well, you know what? I was sitting around the water cooler talking about buying a house, and Ramsey walked up to me and said, "You got to call Doug, because he's the bomb. He took care of me and my family. You can trust him," and blah, blah. And you're like, oh, that's fantastic. That is so cool, man. I am honored at the chance to be able to help you out as well. Okay. That whole interaction is how you build rapport with somebody. And let me tell you the psychology behind it. One, I now know everything that's important to you based on what somebody else said to you about me that you repeated. So I'm sure you didn't repeat everything he said. You just repeated the things that were important to you. That's why you repeated them. The psychological benefit is that now you're talking positively about me to me that somebody else said about me. Now you're feeling emotionally excited because the oxytocin in your body is starting to rise, and you start feeling good about yourself because you're talking about positive things. So now your anxiety and your hesitation is being minimized because I'm getting you to talk to me about things about me that make you happy, and I'm not saying it.
Right. Okay.
You follow me so far?
I do.
Steve, does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. That's the first bullet point. Before you do anything, you have to build that rapport. And my idea of building rapport is getting the other person to talk about me in a positive way based on what the referral partner said. Now, if you had said, well, Ramsey said you have the best rates in town, I'd be like, whoa, okay, I can already tell you where this conversation's going.
Were you guys out drinking? What was he telling you? Yeah,
right.
Okay.
Because I would say, no, Ramsey, really, Ramsey? If that's what he thinks, man, he got the worst rate in the world, and we'd laugh about it. And I've had conversations like that. It's just you play with it. Okay. When you get good enough, you learn how to think and act on your feet pretty quickly, because the moment that they tell you what they have, your goal is to then take that conversation and go, oh, that's so cool. You know what? I'm so proud that I'm thrilled that Ramsey felt compelled to want to tell somebody he cares about me. And I got to tell you, I got to be honest with you, I'm very particular about the clients I work with. And the reason I say that is because my business is 100% referred to me by people who know, like me, and trust me. And my job today, whether we decide to work together or not, is going to be to determine if you are good for my business and if I'm a good fit for you. See, I don't know if I'm going to be the best lending choice for you, and you don't know if I'm going to be the best lender for you either. And so at the end of this conversation, we're going to come to a determination of if I'm going to be able to meet and exceed your goals and expectations. And then I'm going to ask you the same question, because my business requires the clients that I work with to refer me to the people they care about. That's how I'm able to develop this level of service that Ramsey appreciates. And so before we continue, I just needed you to be okay with that. At the end of this meeting, we may decide that we're not a good fit, but all I want in return at the very end of this, if I honor what we're talking about and focus on your goals, wants, and needs, is that you'll go back to Ramsey and at the very least say thank you. Because I care that you go back to him and say thank you more than anything. Fair? And everybody goes, absolutely, sure, no problem. So let me tell you a little bit about my business. And I go into the triangle of trust script. So far we've done the building of the rapport. I've talked about the permission to reject. And the permission to the reject is I've now taken the mindset of the connection that we have, and I've taken the seesaw and I've leveled it out. I've made it so the client understands that I don't need them, I want them. And the client understands that my point of view is if I can't be the best lending choice for you, I'm going to tell you that. And so it removes all of their fear, removes all of their anxiety, and it removes all of the hesitation in them, because they know that all I care about is giving them what's in their best interest, and that they go back to Ramsey and say thank you. That's it. I didn't sell them. I'm not trying to promote myself. I'm just giving them the truth up front. So now not only have I connected with them emotionally, now I've told them that we are all playing from the same level playing field. I'm not here to convince you, and I'm not here to sell you. I'm here to help you. Okay? Then I go into the triangle of trust, which is now going to drive home the message yet again that because I'm very selective, this is how my business operates. See, I operate in this mindset called the triangle of trust, and we've talked about that script before, where I believe that my relationship with Ramsey only grows because of the effort that I put into you. You go back to Ramsey and say thank you. Your relationship is amplified because of it. My relationship with you is amplified because I'm doing a great job for you. But the byproduct is Ramsey now knows that I can continue to take care of the people he cares about, and that amplifies my relationship with him. Does that make sense? And everybody's like, oh my God, that makes total sense. Yeah, I totally get it. And then I turn it into, now I have to be honest with you. Buying a home is not easy. You guys have to understand that buying a home today is different than it was 60 days ago. And it's 180 degrees different than what it was 6 months ago. And so through the process, there's literally 100 things that could go wrong. And I want you guys to know this up front. If we choose to work together, there's going to be a moment in this process that you're going to hate me. There just is. My team is going to call you, or I'm going to call you, and you're going to get frustrated and angry at the fact that we're going to be asking you for more stuff, and you're going to be sick and tired of having to put up with it. But I'm here to tell you, we aren't here to make your life difficult. If we're calling you, it's because there has been every other option exhausted. So here's a list of 100 things that could go wrong. I want you to understand that we have experienced all of these at some point, and we do a really good job navigating through them. But you have to realize that there's a lot of things that are out of our control. The seller, you, the title company, the appraiser, the home inspector, the listing agent, the selling agent, the seller, all play a role in this. There's 100 things that could go wrong. Just understand that as we go through this process, my goal is to have you become an advocate of my business, like I told you about, like with Ramsey. So if I don't tell you the truth, then I'm actually hurting myself, because I can guarantee you at some point there's a time and place that you're going to hate me because it's part of the process. And at that moment, every client goes, oh my God, oh my God, I didn't realize all these things. So now I've elevated my consultative skills. I've elevated my ability to say, listen, I'm a professional. I am more of an advocate and a business owner than you've ever experienced if you've ever bought a home before. So let's just recap. Built rapport. I've given them the permission to reject me. I've established the triangle of trust, told them they're going to hate me. So I've taken them up and down this roller coaster of emotion, and I'm going to end the opening comment with, so if we decide to work together, I have to have you guys come to an agreement with me. We will provide you with the highest level of service. We will navigate 100 things on this piece of paper to get you to the closing table as quick and as efficiently as possible. You have agreed that if we do this, you will respond to us and help us out because this is a team effort. But like I said in the beginning, I'm very selective on the people that I choose to work with. Because I've chosen to build my business on relationships and referrals, I ask that A, that you go back to Ramsey and say thank you, but B, more importantly, as we go through the process, we want you to refer us to somebody you care about. We want you to advocate us to the people in your life, because I know as you go through the home buying process, you're going to talk to somebody about buying a home who's going to ask you questions about who you're going through, your realtor and your lender. And what I ask is that you talk about me and your realtor in such a way that you are compelled to tell them to talk to us. See, we want to grow our business with people that know you and like you and trust you, because if they do that, just like you trusted Ramsey, I promise that that person will come back to you and say thank you. Now, we have to earn that right, and I promise you we will if we agree to work together. But if we do agree to work together, you have to make that commitment that you will put that at the forefront of your mind, that you're going to commit yourself to helping us grow our business, because that's the only way I can help guarantee you that your process of buying a house will be as minimal, will be as stress-free as possible. Is that something you're going to agree to? And every person agreed. And then I go, great. All right, let's talk about your W-2s, bank statements, pay stubs, and stuff. Let's see what we got. So that 5-point bullet, that 5-bullet point opener is how I set the stage, so that now as we navigate the process, my team is always on cue to say, Chuck, you'd go, hey, thank you guys for doing that. And your response, my team's response is, hey, thanks for noticing. I know Doug told you that we count on our clients to refer us. We're counting on you not to keep us a secret, Chuck. Please remember that. We really are. Every time they hear a thank you, they're conditioned to respond that way. Boom, boom, boom. They didn't call them up asking them for it. They called them up seeking a referable moment, and then they capitalized on it. Now, it didn't happen all the time, but I will tell you that the positive responses that we got, that's why if you guys look at my screen, my lead tracker, realtors 11, current clients 2, past clients 9, past clients 1, personal friends 2. I got 25 for the month. And if you look at this is back in October of 2012. This is my lead tracker. I mean, this is what I did every month. I tracked it. So I knew where my business was coming from. So when it's living proof, if you look at the bottom, I mean, that's where my business is coming from. Did what I just say make any sense to you guys, or did I totally lose you?
No, it makes sense. What would you title that 5th bullet point? What would you call it?
The agreement, which is the most vital piece of the puzzle. You have to verbally get them to commit to agreeing to refer to you. The agreement to work together is, I will agree to do everything that I promise. Deliver the product, deliver the rate, deliver the time frame, deliver everything that I know I can. With all due respect, knowing that we have 100 things that could go wrong. But in doing so, I need your commitment to refer me.
Do you have a list of these 5 bullet points?
I don't have a list. I've recorded the call, so what I'll do is you guys can go back and replay. Yep, you guys can replay it. But it's really, the bullet points are build rapport, the permission to reject, the triangle of trust, setting expectations, or you're going to hate me conversation. I always said it. I always called it that you're going to hate me speech. and the agreement to work together. And that agreement to work together is the verbal commitment that they will agree to refer you to somebody they care about during the process. So the building the rapport connects them to you because they're talking about you in a positive way. Their permission to reject levels the playing field so they don't view you as a salesperson. They view you as a consultant and somebody that truly cares about them. The triangle of trust identifies that this transaction is bigger than me and you. It's about another person and the relationship you guys have with them. You're going to hate me sets the bar of expectation up that I'm not going to be perfect, so be prepared that this process is going to be bumpy. I need you to understand that. And the agreement to work together is just telling them again, I will do everything in my power because you see how valuable you are to me. I'm not going to be perfect at this, but I promise you that I care more than anybody. And if I do that, and if I promise to invest my time and energy in you, which I will because I don't have to go out there finding new business, you have to commit to referring me. See, the entire strategy here is to get them to understand the why you're doing it, set the stage for the ask that you know you'll have the opportunity for, and to set the bar of expectation so that you're not having to climb a wall to get over it, you're just stepping over a curb. Yes, no?
Oh, I totally get it. Makes perfect sense. I'm glad you covered that.
Yes.
What is it?
I like
what does it mean to you, Steve? What is it? What do you hear when you hear me sharing this? What do you get from that conversation? Like, what is it that you feel like a consumer or your audience leaves with after they've heard that?
They leave with something fresh. It's not the same old. They see a lot of honesty here. And
do they think of me as a loan officer?
No, we didn't talk about that.
Not once. They're not thinking. They're going to know that I'm going to do mortgages, but they're going to see me. They're going to see me talk about things other than just rates and fees. I'm going to be talking to them about the value of working with me. I want them to leave knowing that I'm a friend in the business, because that's how I end the meetings. You know, when we're done going over all the paperwork, or if my team took over, I would stand up, hug or shake their hand and go, "Isn't it nice to know you guys have a friend in the business now?" And that was going back to something we've covered way back in the beginning. It's the self-appointment. Like, I believe that I'm going to work with you before you even meet me. I believe that I'm going to be your friend before you even decide to. And I believe that every one of my clients was a friend of mine. At least that's how I talked to them and wanted them to feel about me. So I would always end my meetings with shaking their hand or hugging them and go, "Isn't it nice to know you guys got a friend in the business now?" And you know what that does to people? That doesn't mean we're going to start hanging out and, you know, laying in lounge chairs and backyards together. It just means that they see me and believe me when I tell them that I care about them. And that assumptive statement of, "Isn't it nice to know you have a friend in the business?" gives them the reassurance that, yeah, you know what? He's not going to be like everybody else. He's not like anybody else. I'm not going to have to compare, you know, Doug to everybody else. I'm going to have to compare everybody else to Doug. So knowing full well that they're going to shop, knowing full well either they're doing it intentionally or unintentionally, that they're going to be exposed to other options, they're going to hear something that they've never heard before. They're going to hear somebody talk about rates and fees and product. And my job is to say, "Hey, you have that right. You have the right to go out there and shop. It's totally okay. But you will never find somebody who's going to take you through this process and educate you like I am." And this presentation appeals to 80% of the referrals that you get. There's 20% of them that are just never going to be, they're just never going to get it. They're more analytical. They're just more neuro-linguistic brain type people. They're more engineer types. You're never going to win them over. But 80% of the general population will fall into this mindset and appreciate you for it. I promise. Living proof.
Yeah, I think I just dealt with one of those 20%ers.
Yep. Les was telling me that you had somebody beating you up.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
This guy, he's found these internet lenders,
Yep.
and they've already given him 3 pieces of wrong information.
Yep.
This guy will drive around the block to save a penny. That's what he's doing.
The best thing to do with those internet companies is to go ahead and get your good faith estimate, send it, get them to send you a hard copy good faith estimate or closing cost worksheet, and then I want you to go onto Google and look up all the reviews. That's it. And when you're done reading the reviews, if you believe that that's the best lender for you, by all means. I'm not going to tell you that otherwise. It would be like me arguing with a client that comes into my restaurant who says, I want a hamburger and my hamburger is $6.99, and they're like, yeah, but I can go down to McDonald's and get it for 99 cents. I'm not going to look at them and go, well, I'm so sorry that my burger is $7. I will discount it and give it to you for 99 cents. You got to be out of your mind. I'm not a McDonald's. You can go to McDonald's. You came into my restaurant. You were referred to me. This is my product. This is my process. If you feel like you deserve a McDonald's hamburger, then go get one. If you believe you deserve a $7 hamburger and that's why you're here, then you obviously are not looking just to get fast food. You're looking for something bigger than that. And that analogy, sometimes when you paint the picture for clients that way, sometimes being able to describe it in a manner that they can relate to, it's okay. And that helps people understand that sometimes. And I was always really good at coming up with those analogies that were relative to them. I like the restaurant analogy because everybody's been to do a restaurant. You can't go into a nice restaurant and demand McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Arby's prices because the food preparation, the food quality is totally different. Now, you may not care about the quality, and if that's the case, then please go down to the fast food restaurant. I have no problem with that. That's okay. I understand that my restaurant doesn't appeal to everybody. I just have to appeal to enough people that satisfy me. That's why I believe that out of the leads that you get or that you track, 30 to 35% of them will be closable deals. The other 65 to 70, those are people that either don't qualify or just shop you, and that's okay. It's a 30 to 35% conversion ratio to get you to the numbers that you need. So if you want to close 10 loans a month, you got to generate 30 referrals because 20 of those referrals are just not going to be capable or qualified or want to work with you. That's where the numbers game comes in. Does that make sense?
Does to me, yes.
Chuck, Charles, brother, you there?
Yeah, it makes sense. I actually had an ultimate posture moment going against Quicken. Years ago, I decided I'm just never even entertaining anything with them, and it was one of my best buddies' mother-in-laws called last week, and I just had that moment of cringe, like, frick, I need to help this woman. It's $230,000 deal.
Yep.
And I just had the worst feeling. I found I just said, well, I'm not entertaining anything you got going on with Quicken. Yep. And she got off the phone. I figured it was gone. And 5 days later, she called. Quicken just did this to me. No shit, really.
Yep.
Let's go.
And that goes back to, you have to understand that our clients don't know what they don't know. And so they believe that we are, by the marketing image that has been created, we are all equal. The truth of the matter is that we're not. And so if you don't take it personally and you simply go, they don't know what they don't know, be the advocate that you know you are. Be the consultant that you know you are. Just go, and please understand the way in which you're going through this process. It can work, but more often than not, you'll find that it's a hell of a lot harder to go through that process because you're working with somebody who doesn't care. It's kind of like going online and trying to diagnose your illness from WebMD. That's really why WebMD is there, because they believe people have the right to self-diagnose themselves. Would you ever want to self-diagnose yourself on WebMD for something that's bothering you? And everybody would be like, no. Well, then why would you trust somebody doing a loan for you for the biggest investment of your life with somebody you've never met with, you've never sat down with, and who doesn't really care about what you want? And I know they don't care because they have no value proposition that tells you that the bigger interest that they have is amplifying the relationship with the person that you were referred by. That's all. But you have to ask yourself that. That's not a knock on Quicken. It's just it's the fast food versus the nice restaurant analogy. There are ways that you can communicate a story to people to not have it be derogatory or having to say negative things about other people. You just say, listen, it's just two different ways of doing business. I just choose to do it this way. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's my time. Does that make sense? Was this helpful?
It was
very helpful. I will have that sheet for next week. I'll awesome. That to you.
Awesome.
Doug.
Yes, sir.
Did you go over the tracking sheet last week?
We did not. I just sent it to you. So what we'll do is we'll go over the lead tracker in detail next week.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm at the point. I've been able to keep these few clients in my head, but I'm at the point that I'm going to lose that.
Okay, no problem. Let's we'll work on that next week. In the meantime, just take the sheet that I gave you. Just put the names and the phone numbers on that document, and then we'll review it next week.
Okay. Okay,
Have
thanks.
a great weekend, gentlemen.
You too, guys.
All right, thank you.
All right, see you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.